What if humanity is not alone on Earth? Not just in the cosmic sense, but in the biological sense. What if, for decades or even millennia, extraterrestrials have been quietly experimenting with our DNA, creating hybrids, breeding in secret? And what if some of them are already walking among us? In tonight's investigation, we dive deep into one of the most controversial and disturbing theories in UFO research: the idea that alien visitors are manipulating human genetics to create hybrid beings. We'll explore secret breeding programs, mysterious abduction reports, hidden government files, and the unsettling question of whether the next stage of human evolution may already be here. Are extraterrestrials experimenting with human DNA? The idea of alien-human hybrids didn't start with modern UFO culture. It echoes through myths, religious texts, and ancient carvings. The Sumerian tablets refer to the Anunnaki, gods who allegedly fashioned mankind from clay. In the book of Genesis, mysterious beings called the Nephilim appear as offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Were these metaphors or ancient memories of genetic interference? Fast forward to the 20th century.
The Pentagon has released a report addressing the increase in UFO sightings during the 1950s and 60s.
In the 1950s and 60s, the UFO contactee movement began reporting not just sightings, but encounters.
These balloons might explain isolated cases. However, I do not feel that these balloons explain the majority of the so-called flying saucer sightings.
With beings who looked almost human. Tall, blonde Nordics. Small gray aliens with large heads and black eyes. But by the 1980s, something new emerged. Claims of abductions involving eggs, sperm, and medical procedures. Researchers like Bud Hopkins and Dr. David Jacobs began collecting hundreds of testimonies. The patterns were eerily consistent. People describing being taken aboard craft, subjected to reproductive experiments, and shown hybrid babies. Could so many witnesses be fabricating the same details? Or is something far stranger going on? Across North America, Europe, and Asia, people have described similar scenarios. A bright light in the bedroom. Paralysis. Being floated through walls into a waiting craft. Inside, they're surrounded by gray beings who remove eggs or sperm or implant embryos. Weeks later, they're brought back to see their child, a frail, large-eyed infant that looks part human, part alien. They told me she was mine, but she wasn't fully mine. These stories are dismissed by skeptics as sleep paralysis or false memories. But there are puzzling consistencies. Physical marks, nosebleeds, radiation traces, unexplained pregnancies that vanish. Former Air Force intelligence officer Richard Doty claimed such abductions were monitored by government agencies. The question is, monitored or allowed? If even a fraction of these accounts are true, it suggests a program running parallel to our civilization, one where humans are not just study subjects, but breeding stock. The US government has long been accused of hiding UFO information. Project Blue Book closed in 1969, claiming no evidence of extraterrestrial activity. Yet internal memos, like the 1950 Canadian Wilbert Smith memo, spoke of UFOs being the most highly classified subject in the US government, rated 2 points higher than the H-bomb. In the 1990s, the so-called MJ-12 documents surfaced, allegedly describing a secret committee overseeing alien contacts, including genetic experiments. While authenticity is debated, the documents mention code names like Project Aquarius and Sigma, programs dealing with biological entities. We were told hybrids exist. Some are here to help, others to infiltrate. Is this paranoia or a glimpse into a hidden truth? In 2023, when the Pentagon began its new UFO task force, AARO, a few members quietly pushed for an inquiry into biological evidence. The official reports stayed silent, but insiders hint at something being studied behind closed doors. samples of non-human DNA. Dr. David Jacobs, author of The Threat, argues that abductees are not random. He believes aliens are systematically integrating hybrids into society. He calls it the program. According to Jacobs, the goal is not just observation, but eventual replacement, or at least integration, of humanity with a new species. Hybrids, he says, are trained to mimic human behavior but retain telepathic abilities. Some abductees claim they're teaching hybrids how to drive cars, use computers, even blend in at supermarkets. The chilling part? These hybrids may already be adults living among us. He looked human, but his eyes were too large. He didn't blink. I felt he knew everything I was thinking. Could this explain the rise of certain unexplained phenomena, mysterious individuals with uncanny talents, sudden surges in rare blood types, or even some high-profile figures' otherworldly charisma? While mainstream science finds no evidence, the cultural undercurrent keeps growing. For decades, these claims were dismissed as science fiction, but recent advances in genetics have opened new doors. We now know that 8% of the human genome consists of endogenous retroviruses, ancient viral insertions. Some researchers speculate, could parts of our DNA be non-human in origin? In 2013, Kazakhstani scientists sparked controversy by suggesting human DNA might contain an intentional code. While mainstream geneticists scoffed, the idea captured imaginations worldwide. If aliens were seeding or steering evolution, our own genome could be the ultimate Rosetta Stone. Meanwhile, Earth's own technology is catching up. We can now create chimeras, embryos mixing human and animal cells. We can edit embryos. If we're doing this, why couldn't an advanced civilization have done it to us long ago? Could abduction stories simply reflect a continuation of a process that started eons ago? Look at ancient art. Winged humans, serpent gods, star beings. Cultures worldwide, from the Dogon of Mali to the Hopi of Arizona, tell stories of sky people who came down and mixed with humans. Skeptics call these myths, but the hybrid theme is universal. Could myths of mermaids, centaurs, and demigods be distorted memories of real hybridization attempts? Genetic manipulation might have produced short-lived beings, remembered as monsters or heroes. Over time, the science faded, but the stories endured. And what if some of those experiments succeeded? In the past 2 decades, a new wave of reports has emerged, not of classic gray aliens, but of eerily human-like visitors. People who seem just off. Uncanny valley. Tall, pale, perfectly symmetrical. Abductees call them the others. One British case described a woman who vanished for 9 months after claiming she was pregnant from an encounter, then returned without the child. Others speak of seeing their offspring in bizarre nurseries aboard ships, rows of hybrid infants. Even mainstream news has flirted with the topic.
Tonight, let's talk about aliens. They live among us, and they have been doing so for years. They are an advanced species by researchers at the Harvard University, and they say aliens may be walking among humans.
In 2016, the CIA declassified documents mentioning UFO occupants of human appearance. In 2021, former Israeli Space Security Chief Haim Eshed claimed a galactic federation works with governments and is experimenting with human genetics. He was dismissed as senile, yet his career was impeccable. Let's assume for a moment the theory is true. Why would extraterrestrials experiment with human DNA? Survival of their species. Their home planet dying. They need new bodies. We're compatible enough to be hosts. Long-term guidance. They seeded us and are now upgrading us, ushering in a new species. Covert colonization. Instead of invading with ships, they infiltrate genetically. Interstellar ethics. Maybe they're trying to improve us. Immunity, intelligence, longevity. Like gardeners tending a crop. Each scenario carries unsettling implications. In some, we're livestock. In others, we're children. In a few, we're partners in a cosmic experiment we don't remember agreeing to. Of course, extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. Skeptics argue abduction accounts resemble sleep paralysis, false memory implantation, or psychological stress. Hybrid stories may be a cultural echo of ancient fears, demons, incubi, changelings, updated for the space age. Geneticists find no alien code in our DNA, only the messy history of evolution. And government documents, when declassified, rarely confirm wild claims. Yet the persistence of these stories, and their consistency across cultures, remains a mystery in itself. Perhaps the hybrid theory is a mirror reflecting our anxieties about technology, privacy, and control, or perhaps it's a warning about what's actually happening. Here's the most chilling question. If hybrids exist, are they here, now? Walking in crowds, working in offices, influencing governments. Some abductees claim they've met hybrids passing as humans, but with abilities like telepathy or emotional manipulation. A few researchers even link this to high-level social influence, suggesting hybrids might be strategically placed to steer humanity. While this leaps far beyond evidence, the theory thrives online, fueled by sightings of mysterious figures with odd mannerisms and DNA studies hinting at unknown lineages. It's impossible to verify, but the fact we can even imagine it shows how far the idea has seeped into the collective psyche. Whether myth or reality, the alien hybrid program has changed how we view ourselves. If nothing else, it's forced us to confront a radical question: what is human? As genetic engineering advances, we ourselves are becoming hybrid creators, mixing species, editing embryos. Soon, we'll create beings that blur the line between human and other. Will future generations look back at us as aliens to them? And if extraterrestrials are doing this already, we're only catching up. The next decades may bring shocking revelations. DNA anomalies, undeniable contact, or disclosure from whistleblowers. Until then, the line between science and science fiction grows thinner by the day. In the end, the hybrid theory forces us to face the oldest of human fears, losing our identity. But it also offers a strange hope that we're part of something bigger, a cosmic project, a bridge between species. The truth may be terrifying or transcendent. Are extraterrestrials experimenting with human DNA? Are hybrids already living among us? We may not have the answers, but the evidence, myths, and testimonies form a tapestry too intricate to ignore. Perhaps the real question isn't whether aliens are changing us, but whether we've already changed enough to notice. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep looking at the faces around you. Because one day soon, you might discover that humanity is not what it seems. What do you think? Are hybrids already here? Comment below.